Hello, my dear students. It's after a long time that you will be studying something from the video again because we have started our live classes, and in the previous live class we completed activity 3 of chapter 11, the king and the tree goddess. So activity 1, 2 and 3 of this chapter have already been explained and you guys have also answered the questions. So today we will continue with this chapter by starting activity 4. So let's start activity 4. Till now, we studied in the story that there lived a king and he wanted to build a palace which was different than anybody else. So he wanted to make it from a big tree. From the column should be from a big tree, a single tree. So he asks his men to find, and when they find such trees, the soldiers, the men cannot bring it. Then he asks the horsemen, even they cannot bring it. Then he asks for elephant to come, and but the elephant cannot climb the mountains, so they go back to the valleys. And after that, the king asks his prime minister to find such tree in his own area. So let's start what happens, and he should get it within 7 days. So let's see what happens after that. After much searching, the king's men found a splendid deodar tree growing not far from the city. Splendid means it was very good, it was very impressive. So he found such deodar tree which was growing not far from the city. It was worshipped by the people of many villages round about, because within it lived a goddess, and it was she who gave to the tree its great strength, size, and beauty. The splendid deodar tree. In that tree, it was worshipped. People did its puja. Why? Because in that tree there lived a goddess, and it was the goddess who gave to the tree its great strength, size, and beauty. When the Prime Minister and his men decided that the column for the king's palace must be made from this lofty deodar tree, they came with garlands, lamps, and music to pay their respects to the goddess inside and to warn her that she must leave her abode. Within 7 days, it had to be cut to the ground. So they found a huge tree and it was very good. So the Prime Minister decided, this should be the column for the king's palace. Uh, it must be made from this lofty deodar tree. Lofty means which is very big and it is very strong. If they want to build the palace on a single column, then it has to be really strong. So they thought that this deodar tree has, is really strong, so they can make it from this. But there lived a goddess in it. Hence, they decided to show their respect. They decided to worship. So they came with garlands, lamps, here they mean diyas, and music to pay respect to the goddess inside. And along with that, to warn her. Whenever we pray, whenever the gods, they can always listen, gods and goddesses. So here it was told that there lived a goddess in this tree, so they came to warn her because they were about to cut the tree and her home will be on the will be cut, so they came to warn her. They lit their lamps and placed them in a circle round the tree. They lit their lamps, diya jalai, and they placed them in a circle round the tree. They hung their garlands upon the branches. Then, joining hands, some danced and others sang. With cruel axe we have come to fell your age-long home. They have come with a cruel axe to fell, to make your age-long home, your home which has been there since ages. We have come with axe to chop it off, to fall it, to make it fall on the ground. Forgive us, great tree goddess, we dance before your throne. Forgive us. They are asking the tree goddess, the great tree goddess, to forgive them. We dance before your throne. I mean throne. I mean she's a goddess, so she has her throne. So and they are dancing before her. To please the king must we cut down your loveliest tree. To please the king, I mean the king wants it, and to please him, we must cut down your loveliest tree. The tree goddess heard and understood what was about to happen. She remained quiet as a resting breeze for a few moments, and then all her leaves began to whisper, and her topmost branches bowed. The men went away satisfied that she had heard and understood. So, when people were doing this, the people were worshipping her, they were singing and they were dancing. From the poem, from the words, the tree goddess, heard everything, and then she understood what was about to happen, what the men are planning to do. So she remained quiet as a resting breeze. You know, breeze, it's always around us, but the one we cannot feel it when it is resting. So she remained quiet like a resting breeze and for a few minutes, and afterwards all her leaves began to whisper like there was like soft murmur, like there was soft noise from the leaves, and her topmost branches bowed. You know, when we understand something, we say yes. So the tree topmost branches, they bowed. So the men went away satisfied that she had heard and understood. That night, when the king was asleep, a glorious figure appeared to him and spoke in a voice that was like the rustle of autumn leaves. So, in the day, the worshipping of the tree happened. People sang the poem and warned her about what was about to happen. But later on, everything was settled, and at that night, when the king was asleep, a glorious figure, glorious means something like wonderful, a beautiful figure appeared to him and spoke in a voice that was like the rustle. Rustle means the sound of autumn leaves. So the king he was sleeping, and he saw a glorious figure, a beautiful figure, and spoke in a voice. He heard the voice which was like the sound of autumn leaves. I am the goddess of the Deodar tree, great king. So she gave her introduction that she is the goddess of the Deodar tree, great king. Your men have told me that you intend to cut me down. Intend means you wish, you want to cut me down. She told that your men have told me. I have come to beg you to change your mind. To beg you to ask him to change his mind. No, my mind is made up, answered the king in his dream. The king is sleeping, but from his mind he can give the answer. So in his dream he told that my mind is made up, I have decided. Yours is the only tree in all my parks strong enough to support by itself a palace, and therefore I must have it. Then what was the reason? That the Deodar tree, which is the home of the tree goddess, it is the only tree in the whole park which is strong enough to support by itself a palace, and therefore the king must have it. The king needs it. So after the king says that he is not ready to change his mind, and he has decided that he wants to build his palace on that tree only. The tree goddess says, but consider, O king, for hundreds of years I have been worshipped by the people of all the villages in your kingdom, and nothing but good has gone out from me to them. So the tree goddess asks the king to consider. For hundreds of years, the tree has been very old, so since long time, that tree has been worshipped by the people of all the villages in his kingdom, and the tree goddess has never done any harm. She has always given good to all the people. The birds nest in me. The birds make their nests on the trees. I send a most lovely shade upon the grass. I send a most lovely shade upon the grass. The grass also gets the shade from the trees. Men rest against my trunk, and wild creatures rub themselves against me. When people are traveling, or the men rest against the trunk of the tree, and wild creatures, when they need to rub themselves, when they need to scratch, they rub themselves against the tree. The earth blesses me and sends up new plants and herbs under my protective arms. Under the tree, various other plants and herbs also grow. The earth is giving it to the tree. I bind the earth with my strong roots. How does a tree bind the earth? By holding all the soil together with its roots. So, the tree goddess or the Devdar tree binds the earth with strong roots. Children play at my feet, and women returning from fields seek refuge in my coolness. So, children play under the tree, and women who are returning from the fields after working hard in the fields, they seek refuge. They get shelter in the coolness of the tree. So, based on activity 4, you have to answer the following questions. First one, how did the people show their respect to the Deodar tree? Well, people worshipped, but what did they do? They showed their respect to the Deodar tree by lighting lamps and placing them in circle around the tree, hanging garlands upon the branches, and singing and dancing on the music. They also prayed. Question 2. Why did the Prime Minister and his men decide to pray to the Deodar tree? Other peoples were Other people were always praying, but why did the Prime Minister and his men decide? The Prime Minister and his men decided to pray to the Deodar tree because within it lived a goddess who gave to the tree its great strength, size, and beauty. They decided to pray because within the tree there lived a goddess. If it had been a normal tree, if people did not believe that there lived a goddess, they wouldn't have decided to pray. Question 3. Imagine that you are the goddess of the tree. How would you convince the king to change his mind? Here, the goddess came in his dreams and she tried to convince him by asking him, she begged him to change his mind. But what will you try to convince the king to change his mind? You all can use your imagination and come up with different answers. I would like to see your answers in your assignments. Hello, my dear students. It's after a long time that you will be studying something from the video again because we have started our live class.